Welcome to the Brie Pod. I'm here with me, Brie. So I wanted to come on here and share some things that I have seen the past few weeks, which is crazy. But basically, I joined some pregnancy groups because I thought it would be good for me to just have like a community to be a part of. Um, and the particular group that I'm in is actually for women that are due in September. And I love it because it kind of feels like we're all in it together, and there's like a lot of us that have the same due date in there. And everybody, varies within the month of September. So it feels like a nice connection. Now, there has been some moments where it got really ugly, but luckily the admins have been doing a really good job of taking care of it. Um, I think in the beginning, there was a point where they probably didn't expect all the drama that would ensue. So I think at first they weren't really worried about certain things and they didn't have someone really checking it, but now they finally made it where if you make a post, they have to approve it first to make sure it's not, disrespectful or rude. Like one time, one of the subjects that were brought up in there was about circumcision, to do it or not, and it got very ugly. Like people were attacking each other's religion, people were attacking just like people's viewpoints, and really at the end of the day, it's not to be rude, but also at the same time, it kind of is to be firm that you don't get to decide for women of what they choose. Like, yes, you can have an opinion, you can have your own choices, but you can't push your opinion on people. And that's what ended up happening. Uh, there was like two sides just attacking each other. And I, of course, have a mouth sometimes. So I went in there, was like, hey, this is inappropriate, and tagged um, basically said that the admin should delete it because at the end of the day, it does not matter what you believe in. You don't need to push stuff on other people. There are so many babies out there that have been, taught different things, but from different cultures and different religion and different ideas. And at the end of the day, there isn't a one size fits all. And for some reason, there are people out there that believe there's a one size fits all. And it's just not the case. So, this episode I'm dedicating to all the mamas that go through some shit and get told some shit. So, this episode is called Shit You Should Not Tell a Pregnant Woman. Because I've seen a lot of shit that is not healthy to say. So, we're going to go through a few that I have seen so far. Um, so, to start us off, when you're pregnant, there's a lot of people that judge your belly on the amount of children you potentially have that you're potentially carrying. So, one of the things you should not say to a woman is, wow, are you sure there aren't two in there? Because, first off, that's so shameful and mean. And secondly, like, our bodies are so different. We all have different ways of um, pregnancy. There's first time moms to moms that have had multiples, and there's like certain circumstances that are involved with hormones. I mean, there's so many layers of, you know, oh, a body and the person that is in that body. Like you can't just assume, oh, well, she's big, so she must be having twins, or she's small so that she must be malnourishing the baby or something, like we really got to be careful because the other one, so actually leading into that one, we have number one that we said, but number two is, oh my God, you're so small, you barely look pregnant. Now, this goes back to shaming the body. Like, the thing is, our bodies are so different. There's so many things that um, make up a baby to make you either bigger or smaller, or there really shouldn't be any term on it, you know what I mean? But for some reason, we like to put a term on everything, and there needs to be, it's just constant shame, which is so crazy because your body does this beautiful thing. Your body basically creates, well, not basically, your body creates life. And it's so, like, just with all the changes, like for myself, for example, it's just, it always blows my mind on how something so little can make such a huge change and impact. And really, our bodies, like, we don't give them enough, our bodies enough credit for what it can do. Like, I still am so scared to give birth, but at the end of the day, one of my cousins gave me this advice, like, just letting me know, hey girl, the thing is, this has been happening for so many years and decades where your body just knows what to do. Now, of course, medicine and all these things have advanced, absolutely, but at the end of the day, your body knows what it needs to do. Um, and it, like, it's going to impress you what it can do. So it's like we really got to watch what we say to people because they're creating the gift of life, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, let's see. Let's go. Let's continue. Um, oh, this is one I've seen. You look so tired, sick, swollen, miserable. Nobody wants to be called out on how tired they look. Just saying. Imagine you go into your work and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you look so ill. Are you okay?" And there's nothing really that wrong with you. We're so quick to be mean. It's just unnecessary. Um, and sometimes people like, let's talk about, oh my gosh, I can't even say the word term for it, but it's like gravitinium. Basically, it starts with a G, and it's this sickness that is worse than morning sickness. One of my cousins actually, unfortunately, had to go through this, and you know, if someone were to go up to her and be like, "Oh, you look this or that, you look miserable," it's like, you know what, Karen? Hush your mouth. This poor girl is getting sick all day long. Like, there's nothing the the treatments that you would use for morning sickness, like people will be like, drink ginger, eat crackers. People that have that G word um, reaction to pregnancy, they don't get that. They have to basically go get a special medication to help, and that's if it helps. You should look it up though. I wish I could say those words. I always get, I'm horrible with them, but it basically starts with a G, and it's this extreme, it's worse than morning sickness. You're sick basically all the time. And a lot of times for women it can happen all the way throughout the pregnancy, which makes it easier for them to get dehydrated, easier for them to lose weight that they don't mean to lose, but their body's forcing them to. And there's a lot of other complications that can come with it if it's not treated, or if you're not able to, um, you know, get some form of a system to help you keep down that food and everything. So really, people, we got to be careful with our words. So the reason I'm having this episode is because I've been reading a lot of what people say to others. And I'm sure while you're listening to this episode, you're thinking of, especially if you've been pregnant, you're probably thinking of all the things that have been said to you that made you feel uncomfortable. And also the fact where you get unsolicited parenting advice. Here's my thing. I personally don't mind advice if A, I asked for it, B, I trust you enough to want to know that advice from you, Or C, because again, I asked you for it. But if you're just randomly going up to people and giving your 2 cents, you really need to think about that. Are you in a position to do that? Do they trust you enough to, or do you even know the person that you're talking to? And have they asked you? Because sometimes maybe people that um are having a baby didn't ask you for the advice. So we've got to be mindful of what we say to people. So I'm going to go through some more of what you should not say to a pregnant woman. Um, so one of the sayings is sleep now because soon you'll never sleep again. Now, know this. We know that sleep is going to be taken. My husband and I are aware that we're going to have sleepless nights. But the problem with this statement is that makes it sound, it just sounds so mean to the life that's about to join us. Like, sure, we're gonna go through the ups and downs. It's just like with life, there are things that you get excited for, like that are gonna be fun and enjoyable, but you've also got to take into account that there will be the downs, there will be the lows, and I don't think anybody um goes in this thinking this is gonna be rainbows and butterflies. This is gonna be the perfect thing ever. Like, I feel like it's an unnecessary uh statement. Like we know that we probably will need to sleep, but there's no need to say stuff like that because it almost sounds like you're saying, well, you better enjoy it now or because your life's about to go in the shitter and suck. You know what I mean? It's just not nice. Not nice at all. Um, so let's be careful. Let's see, another one. Oh my God, I have to tell you about my super traumatic birth or my newborn super scary time in the NICU. Now, there is a respect to anybody that has had some crazy things happen during birth. But as a pregnant woman, I don't want to hear the scariest thing that happened because A, I have anxiety, and B, I'm going to obsess over it and think, oh my gosh, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen to me. So when you're talking to pregnant women, you don't need to scare them. Note that we are doing our research. We are looking into what could happen. What like we're like little Magnum PIs over here. So as much as you want to share that story, and I totally give you credit, there is a time and a place to do that, but do not tell someone that's pregnant, okay? I already freak out when I read the trigger warnings on in my group about people that have lost their babies. Like, I'm scared to death of that happening. And I'm not saying that I'm, not having love or feeling for those people that are going through that. It's just we're already on an anxious high. It's scary. It's especially for us first-time moms who have never done it before. And you've got to remember that, yes, even if you've been pregnant before, it doesn't mean that my experience is going to be the same as yours. So there's no reason to scare anybody. No reason for that. Um, Another one is bringing up the gender, like I hope you have a girl or I hope you have a boy. I think you got to be very careful with that unless, again, you're a close friend and like still, you just got to be careful because there is a thing called gender disappointment. And there are people, it's a real thing, like look it up. There are people that suffer from gender disappointment and you may want something for them and they may be grieving in the background because they found out that they're not having that gender, or they may just, want to love whoever is joining them in their life, like it's not good to push forth your own ideas onto or projections onto someone if you don't really know them that well, um, or their background. So definitely look up gender disappointment because that's so real. And honestly, people that have it, it's not just a "we'll get over it" or "just love your baby" or "just be thankful or grateful that you have a baby," because it's actually a real, um, I don't want to say disease, but basically like a mental health kind of thing where it's just like someone that has depression and you tell them, oh, just get over it or just wake up or just act normal. Like it doesn't work like that. They can't just get up and be happy because you said get up and be happy. And that's the same with gender disappointment. And it's easy for people to not understand this who don't have it. I personally do not have it, but I know of people that do. And it's so easy as someone that has not had it to say, well, to say these things of like, oh, you're ungrateful or that. But it's not like that. It's like someone that's having, you've got to think about it like someone that has depression. You can't just will them to feel better. And we need to be more understanding of people that, um, you know, that are going through it and more loving. So instead of being like, I hope you have this gender or you had this amount of kids, so you better have this gender, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. No need, unnecessary. Just be supportive of the fact that they're telling you about their pregnancy. Um, Another one is this your first? And then someone's like, no, it's my third. Oh, you look too young to have three kids. Hello, people. When I don't have makeup, I look like a 15-year-old. We don't need to comment on the youth or or if someone's old or like this goes back to body image. And some of us, in my case, where I had an eating disorder prior to this and I'm recovering from that, I don't want to hear you comment on my body or say like you're too small or you're too big or you need to eat more or you don't. That doesn't make me want to eat more. That doesn't make other people want to. It doesn't really make it doesn't help the situation. We need more love than hurt. So just I know that many of you are probably listening to this and being like, well, I said this and I meant it with love. And I really do believe that you mean things with love. I do. But at the end of the day, you also got to think about you're only thinking of it from your perspective and not what it feels like being on the receiving end of it, you know? Um, Another one is, oh gosh. How do you feel about bringing another child into this already overcrowded world of strife, violence, and environmental destruction? Again, this is overwhelming. Something that I would not say to people. I mean, the worst part is the people that I see saying this have brought their own kids in. And I know that the world isn't the same as where it was or what it was, but it doesn't mean that you can't bring your own child into this world. It doesn't mean that change won't happen. It doesn't mean that our children won't be a part of the change. I see a lot of people saying, oh, like they're worried for their kids. And honestly, for me, I don't look at it as a doom and gloom thing. I feel like our children will be the change, a part of the change, part of the moving forward. So there's no need to bring it to like a negative, creepy place. Like that's just weird. Um, I have seen people, oh gosh, take over, like on my, sorry, on the group, I've had many women come in there and say that their like family members have basically decided what's best for them and what they want for their names. Okay, so here's the thing. If someone tells you a name that they love and you don't like it, deal with it. I mean, again, it goes back to unless you are super close with that person, they trust you and they ask you like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" But if you're like a person that they didn't talk to about it, and even if they decide, even if they come back at you and say, "Hey, I really appreciate your feedback, but this is the name we're going with," don't fight them. That is not your fight or your battle. This is not your baby. We gotta remember this. Like, we gotta be careful on what we're saying, because it's just there's just stuff that hurt and it cuts deep. And I feel like it's even worse in the fact that we're all hormonal. So you're messing with hormones too, you know? And it also creates you know, strains in relationships. So just I'm not saying you can't say anything at all, but there are things that need to be thought about before said. Um, because it can get ugly and it can get mean. Um, and I and I had decided to create this podcast because I hear so many people say so many mean things to other people. And it's so heartbreaking to watch, especially on the other end when you're trying, like when I'm supporting my friends and they're crying to me because somebody had to go and like knock them down when they're trying to enjoy and embrace their pregnancy and the baby that's about to come. So it's so important to really watch what is said and think about what is said. And let's see, I'm just seeing if there's some more that I had written some of these down. Oh yeah, wow, you still have a long way to go when someone says that, you know, they have a certain amount of weeks that they're going along. Listen, you don't need to say that. Trust me, I'm counting down the days. My baby app tells me how many days I have left. I'm not gonna need someone to tell me, wow, you have so long to go. Yep, we're aware. Let me tell you, we know how many days we have to go because we are checking it. We are uh feeling we're feeling that pressure of time. We're looking at, you know, oh gosh, and it depends on how you feel too. Like right now, I'm still in the trimester that's like kind of chill, more chill than the last one where it's gonna be, you know, there's gonna be more aches and pains. It's gonna be less sleeping, stuff like that. But there's just to no need to tell people, oh wow, that's a long way. We've got to work on we need to work on the dynamic of that part in society. And of course, not everything's going to change overnight. But one of the things that I do hope for is that one day we're able to feel comfortable in our bodies and not feel so judged. And of course, it's going to take time to get there. There's a lot of factors there, but the reason why I bring all this up is even if there's just awareness, maybe I can't change the world, but even just awareness of being careful with our wording, uh, because at the end of the day, it's really sad how pregnancy is said to be this beautiful, strong, um, there's so many terms for it, amazing, loving, you know, new world for some of us. Like, it's just amazing what it can be, but we are just so like mean, so vicious. So, another thing I wanted to share on pregnancy and shit not to say to a pregnant woman is definitely the after. So, I'm talking about all the stuff that's said when you're pregnant now. Um, but let's talk about the aftermath because after a woman has a baby or multiples, um, we tend to be very judgy on what she looks like after, especially when it comes to like it could be like a week or two or even a month after uh, the baby has been born and someone says, well, wow, you still got the pregnancy weight or it looks like you can't lose, the weight. That is, oh gosh, that is horrifying. I do not look forward to. It's kind of funny thinking, not funny in a ha, but I've been thinking about the different stages I'm going to be going through because not everything has been said to me that I've said on here. This is different things I've seen other women going through right now. But I know that through the different stages, as I get bigger, have a bigger belly, I'm going to start to hear more of this stuff. And one of the things that I fear as someone that is recovering from an eating disorder is going to be the aftermath when they comment on how I look after I have my child. And so I know that it can get really vicious. I know it can get mean and nasty, and I'm just not looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to that feeling, um, because it's going, it's scary. It's a scary thought. I already have I already had a hard time when people would say, "Oh, well, you need to eat this," or "You don't eat enough," or "Make sure you're eating," or "Don't try to kill your baby if not eating." Like I already have that, so I can't imagine someone being like, "Well, now you're fat," or you don't. I don't know. Like that's not gonna help my mental state because the key word here is recovering. And that's just somebody that is recovering from an eating disorder. You don't need to have an eating disorder to be body shamed or to not or to have a reaction to being body shamed. So I'm trying to speak for all of us here where, you know, let's give grace in the fact that the woman you're talking to just basically brought life out of her own body. And, we're not all going to be able to stand in a dress with our heels and, wave like poor Duchess Kate has to. Which, to be honest, I give her so much grace and love because it is probably so difficult to be someone in the spotlight that, you know, has to show the world that the baby has come, that has been born in and they need to, wave and say hello. And this poor woman has to be all like dressed up and all glammed up and hold the baby like basically hours after having her child. I mean, I know some women that are like, that have told me, they would prefer to, number one, have their moment with their baby that they just met. Because, I mean, yes, you have the 9 months where you're talking to your belly and stuff, but you're actually physically meeting your baby. So, I mean, I feel like she kind of is robbed of some time with her children and, having to share it with the public. And then to go out there in this perfect looking dress and these high heels, like, oh my gosh. I know that when I just had surgery just for my laparoscopy, I was like I looked like a crazy woman. I had pink hair at the time, which I thought was something I wanted, but I realized that is not something I should do before surgery. But I had pink hair and my hair was all over the place. Obviously I looked drugged up to be honest because I just had like the anesthesia. I was just coming out of recovery. And then I was wearing this very flowy shirt dress thing because I wanted to be comfortable. Like I know that you don't get anesthesia after like when you're giving birth, but still, I mean, it takes a lot of energy out of your body. So these are the things we need to think about, And I wanted to share this because I feel like a lot of women need this. They need someone to say, "Hey, this is not nice. This is hurtful. And some people that have anxiety um, may not be as excited, which is okay. You don't always have to be excited for every single moment of a pregnancy. And when you add on these negative comments, which you think are being funny or you think you're being loving, they're really not that great. They're body shaming. I mean, if your comment leads to body shaming, which is basically talking about whether they're big, small, what they look like, don't say it. If your comment is giving advice that was never asked for, don't say it. If they just had the baby and it's been a month or two and you think they should be like a size 2, don't say it. Don't say it because it is not going, it is a projection from you and not, it's a backhanded compliment. There's nothing positive about it. I don't know why it's a thing to do, but don't say it. It's just not, it's inappropriate and unacceptable. Even with advice for parenting, unless they ask you, don't say it. And you're probably like, well, what can I say? And that's the thing. There's so many beautiful things that you can say. There's so many loving things. There's so many ways to tell someone that you love them, that you support them, that you're here for them, that, maybe even just a listening ear. There's articles that are positive that you could give them that if they ask for it. Like, there are so many ways to love your people. Don't make it an excuse that, I can only say these things because of whatever. No, you're saying it because honestly, I don't really know why you're saying it because when I say stuff to people, I try to be careful, but it's because I have my own background on stuff, my own wisdom on things that make me be careful on what I say. Like, I don't go up to someone and be like, well, I hope you have a boy or I hope you have a girl because I don't know if they suffer from gender disappointment. And I won't go up to someone and be like, wow, you must have multiples because I am not a doctor. I do not understand the body or what, like I don't know if they've gone through endo or PCOS or fibroid. I was gonna say fibro. Anyway, for those that have fibroids and cysts, I mean, there's so many factors, there's so many things, and I think it's just important to recognize them. And if you hate this, I can't say that I'm sorry because I have seen a lot of beautiful, beautiful souls get hurt so bad with comments that were given to them. And as you know, I believe in the power of the voice, the power of sharing. And the biggest thing I will always do is advocate for people. And now that I am pregnant and in learning what shame and that comes at you, I'm preparing myself basically for being, because I know that a lot of these things are going to be told to me, and I'm preparing myself because, it's sad. It's sad that you have to prepare yourself, but it's sad that it's also a known fact that it's going to happen. People are going to say stuff, but at the end of the day, if we can even just have one person just that listened to this that maybe said stuff and didn't mean to, just think about your words. Um, there are so many ways to love your people. Don't give the excuse that that's the only thing you could have said, you know? So I know that this is a little rough, but with that, you are loved, you are worthy, you are cherished, and I am proud of you. Until next time, on the Brie Pod. Bye!